ray of hope amid violence.
It is closer than it has been.
Sources say a ceasefire deal could be in the near future. A resentencing hearing delayed.
I do want them home.
In the case of the Menendez brothers. And parade preparations.
We're looking to tell a fun, family-friendly, festive story.
A look into one of the biggest Thanksgiving traditions. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Jason Arrow.
And I'm Emma Alonso. Today is Tuesday, November 26, 2024.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
Today could be deal day. A scheduled vote by the Israeli cabinet could bring an end to the fight with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Israel's cabinet meets this afternoon, and the ceasefire proposal is the biggest thing on the agenda.
As CNN's Amy Kiley reports, it could be a ray of hope as violence in the Middle East continues on.
The reason I think for this sense of optimism is that it is closer than it has been.
A ceasefire agreement between Israel and Lebanon-based Hezbollah is, quote, very close, according to a regional source. U.S. and Israeli officials caution a deal isn't final yet, but an Israeli spokesperson says the two sides are moving in that direction. The U.S. and Israel are proposing a 60-day pause in fighting that some hope could result in a lasting ceasefire.
Hezbollah with the pager and walkie-talkie operation and ongoing strikes on their leadership is completely on their back foot, not only from a military standpoint, but from an economic standpoint.
The Lebanese health ministry estimates more than 3,000 people have died since Israel stepped up its campaign against Hezbollah in September. And analysts say the militant group is under more than just domestic pressure to end the fighting.
Additional pressure from Iran on Israel to move towards this ceasefire. If Hezbollah goes on a ceasefire with Israel, that's because Iran says it's okay.
Israel demands the right to strike back if Hezbollah were to violate a hypothetical ceasefire deal. The country has its own goals in negotiations.
For Israel, it's been all about allowing its 60 to 70,000 Israelis to return to their homes, their communities in the north of Israel, south of Lebanon.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Special counsel Jack Smith is dropping his election interference and classified documents cases against President-elect Trump. Back in August, Smith revised his case alleging that Trump tried to affect the results of the 2020 election on January 6 following the Supreme Court ruling in the summer granting him certain presidential immunities. The Justice Department has a policy against prosecuting a sitting president.
And moving on, President-elect Donald Trump announcing parts of his economic plan for day one of his presidency this morning. Trump wrote on Truth Social that he will exercise his executive powers to place a 25% tariff on all products ranging from Mexico to China until, quote, drugs in particular, including fentanyl and illegal aliens, stop the invasion of our country. Trump added that he will also target China.
The Menendez brothers are back behind bars this morning after a hearing was held. As CNN's Mary Bell Gonzalez reports, there has been a month delay in their resentencing.
No cameras were allowed inside a Los Angeles courtroom in the case of Eric and Lal Menendez, but the eyes of many were on their hearing.
I would love to see justice in its purest form carried out, whatever that may mean.
At Monday's hearing, Jose and Kitty's older sisters, Terry Baralt and Joan Vandermolen, testified in favor of the brothers' release.
Both made impassioned pleas with the judge to send the brothers home.
I do want them home. They should never have been in such situations as presented themselves. What can a kid do when its father's... Oh, I can't stand it.
35 years is a long time. I think
it's time.
In October, current LA County District Attorney George Gascon asked a judge to reconsider the Menendez convictions in light of a letter written by Eric to his cousin alleging abuse at the hands of his father, Jose. Their resentencing hearing now rescheduled for January, as incoming DA Nathan Hochman is set to take over next week.
Hochman has been very clear that he needs to review transcripts. He has to look at prison records. He's going to make his own independent judgment.
Ultimately, Ultimately, it will be up to a judge to decide if the Menendez brothers are rehabilitated and if their alleged abuse played a role in their parents' murders.
That evidence was not permitted in that second trial that led to the conviction. So that's key for the judge, certainly.
In Los Angeles, I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
The woman who shot a mother of 4 in Florida was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Susan Lawrence was convicted of manslaughter in August of June 2023. She shot through her front door, killing A.J. Owens, who had been knocking on her door. They had a dispute over Owens' kids playing near Lawrence's home. The trial tested Florida's controversial stand your ground law that justifies deadly force in self-defense.
Susan wasn't remorseful for shooting and killing my daughter. Susan was remorseful and the fact that she's going to spend probably the rest of her life behind bars.
Owens' family and prosecutors pushed for the maximum penalty of 30 years in prison.
Starbucks is manually managing its employee schedules this morning after a ransomware attack. A spokesperson for the coffee giant announced yesterday that it was being affected by the cyber attack on a company called Blue Yonder that handles cloud services. The hack disrupted software that Starbucks relies on to track shifts. Store leaders are guiding employees on how to navigate the outage.
It's that time of year again when friends and family gather together to give thanks, share a meal, and enjoy each other's company. But as CNN's Ivan Rodriguez reports, sometimes relatives can stir the pot at the dinner table instead of the one that's stirring on the stove.
Every 4 years, Thanksgiving dinner is often served with the hot side of post-election emotions, and the mere mention of politics or social issues may be enough to turn a family feast into a family feud.
We oftentimes talk about there being a price of admission to having conversations, and one of the prices of admission is that you recognize that some self-regulation might be a part of that.
Etiquette expert Daniel Post-Senning of the Emily Post Institute advises building connections over shared experiences, from things like the weather and traffic to something that's happening around you. But if you do choose to wade into controversy, it's important to test the water first.
Get your etiquette antenna out. You might be very comfortable talking about politics, but there's no guarantee that that's the way other people are feeling or approaching those same topics.
It's also best to be cognizant of how those around you are feeling, according to psychologist Lynn Bufka.
I think it's really incumbent on those who feel that they won to really be as gracious as possible about that and as open as possible to their family members.
And to remember that your loved ones are imperfect people who you have long-standing relationships with.
They're not all good or all bad. They're just complicated people with different points of view.
But if the anxiety of a fraught feast has you angling for an excuse, Senning says it's bad form to back out.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
The Panthers amid the longest current losing streak in the NHL and trying to turn things around against the Capitals.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
What we're trying to do is make the parade bigger and better than ever each year.
Some uplifting news ahead of the Thanksgiving Day tradition. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk
driving. Every day.
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles, watching each other's backs,
And banding together.
we should still make an effort
We should still make an effort.
to get to know each other.
On a deeper level. Father.
Cosplayer,
Mentor.
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward. Come together
And discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is less than 48 hours away, and many organizers have left all the details up in the air. But one of the big traditions for the holiday is watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on TV.
Reporter Anthony Gallo from WABC has a preview of this year's parade, including the new floats and all the work that goes into them.
To be iconic is to be larger than life.
What we're trying to do is make the parade bigger and better than ever each year.
To be in charge of these massive floats, you have to know what the people are talking about. And that means spending more than 100 hours to bring Wednesday Addams to life.
We worked with our friends at Netflix to tell Wednesday's story of the parade, and what she's doing is playing a little joke on her little brother Pugsley and sending him down the route on a sheet pan of rotten vegetables.
7 of the more than 20 floats are new and will debut on the parade route this year. Minnie Mouse dances atop Magic Meets the Seas by Disney Cruise Line.
This float is going to feature a performance by Captain Minnie and a bunch of her friends from Disney.
On the Bronx Zoo's float, each animal is designed to be life-size. Those who've kicked it all into gear, everyone from engineers to carpenters, working for months in this warehouse leading up to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Creative director Brendan Kennedy wants to leave a mark with each float.
We're looking to tell a fun, family-friendly, festive story easily and quickly, because we only have a few moments. You know, they're shuffling down the road.
The attention to detail is something. For example, this Rayo's Pasta Night float, if you take a look around the float, you'll see a menacing dragon. But look a little closer. You'll notice its claws are designed to look like macaroni.
We created a story of a knight fighting a fire-breathing dragon that's made out of lasagna and pasta, and he's riding a rigatoni pony. And it's those attention to detail that I think are so important and what really make the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade so special.
So special, they're already working on next year's floats. The Anthony Carlo, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
In a change of tone, the Florida Panthers continue to struggle after a loss against the Washington Capitals. The Panthers tried to fight back, but a couple of major things went wrong. First, Alexander Barkov's wraparound was denied. Then there was a pair of goal line saves by the Capitals defenders. The final score was Washington 4, Panthers 1. That's now 4 losses in a row. The Panthers host the Leafs tomorrow night at 7:30. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
I could really use a new tablet. I just don't have the money.
Let me ask you something. Do you have a Pell Grant?
Yes?
You do know you can get a free tablet, right?
Did you say free?
Yeah, free. It's simple. And the application is done in the store.
I could really use a tablet.
Go get one. Another satisfied customer. Stop by PantherTech in the Graham Center at FIU MMC today to speak with one of our associates to get your free tablet.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
And that's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Emma Alonso.
I'm Jason Harold. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.